hard to get used to. Minding my own business, I'm not worried about what he do. Cause nowadays all it is let me see through. I always said this is that I'm staying around people. Finding my own path like I'm writing my own sequel. Two-faced people all around, they be evil. 2021, you can never trust nobody. Good and bad thoughts on my mind, they be crowded. Pushing to get past his limits, then he see he bought it. Family work hard, but I never catch them found it. Came a long way in my drip, now I be drowning. They dying, I hear got some hearts pounded. Multi-talented, my passion, I haven't found it. Yeah, in my home, I was never ever doubted. I'm here from a bad place, oh yeah. Tryna be a better me just for you. But it ain't easy, it's hard to get used to. Minding my own business, I'm not worried about what he do. Cause nowadays all in next let me see through. I always said this is that I'm staying around.
Good evening to each and every one. It's a boy GFC Golf. I'm back again with another video for you guys. It's been a while, people. It's been a while since I'm here. But today I've been joined, with the only Ty, Mr. Blue. Ty, Mr. Blue, we've been holding on the show for the last couple of months for me because of a lot of commitment, because of work, and Ty been doing a fantastic job, for me, and I really appreciate it, bro. You keep on giving the fans what they need, when I'm not here. So I thank you. I can't explain how much that I've done, you've done for us, for the GFC Golf and community, being holding down the fortune for such a long time. But no, guys, I'm trying to be back every weekend now, and what I'm trying to do is trying to do some different stuff, like different topic, during the week where we can talk about different stuff, not just about football, but life in general. So, let us see how it goes. But there's a lot of new things will come up, probably late in UK time, but Jamaican time will be pleasable for the Jamaican people, but it would be most likely midnight, or close to midnight or after midnight in UK for the new shows that's about to launch on the channel. But we're here to talk about the Premier League today, and I have Ty here with me. So how you doing today, Ty?
Yes. Yeah. I was saying a lot has happened today in particular, especially, and even yesterday, especially with Liverpool, Southampton, and how they looked like they were going to lose, but Liverpool have always found a way this season. So yeah, but I'm good.
Yeah, and as you said, a lot have been happening. It's been a while for me, so there's a lot happened. During the last time when we speak, because the last time when I think I did a show, it was Chelsea was what 2 points away from the top of the league. I think there were 2 points behind Liverpool. Sorry, there were 2 points behind Liverpool. I think the last time I did a show. And then on this channel, and then I did a show on your channel when the slump started. I think that's when I go off, and then after that I was nowhere to be found.
Yes. You pulled that Randy Orton on us. You just disappeared. You just came back when you least expected it. So yes, yeah. I mean, and it says a lot because if that was the case, that would have been all the way back in early December. So yeah, a lot has changed, a lot has happened since then. And the season has a different outlook because since then, the only competition that Chelsea, not to make this mostly on Chelsea, but since then, the only competition Chelsea could potentially win is the Conference League. So a lot has happened, eliminated from the FA Cup and all that. But yeah, it's good that you're able to make the return. It's a long-awaited return. I'm sure that the audience would have missed having GFC Garvon being here to lead the line.
Yeah, hopefully I bring back some fortune for Chelsea because hopefully it's a turn. They make a turn from the bad to the good, but There's a lot going on in the Premier League, and I saw the Premier League bringing up some new rules. I don't know if you read about it or hear about it, where they're gonna start. It's not really a new rule, to be quite honest, because it was a rule from way back, even when I used to play. It's the rule. If the goalkeeper hold on to the ball, for a certain amount of seconds. Back in my time, it was like 6 seconds. So I think that would be a good rule.
Yeah. The problem that will pose for a lot of teams, especially for when teams are trying to time waste when they're in stoppage time, it allows the other teams to get an advantage, because I think, what is it? They said if that happens, they get a free kick. They give a free kick away, or is it something, or they book the goalkeeper? I don't know what it is. I'd
I
seen
think they said a corner kick. I think they're gonna give a corner kick.
a corner kick. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, a corner kick. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But back in the
So
days,
a lot of teams can't do that.
yeah, I think it would benefit Arsenal a lot because that their set piece, even though they're slow up on set piece recently, people been finding out their set pieces. So I don't think their set piece is that great like the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I mean it's bound to happen. I mean, when teams are, because if it's, and that's the con to what they've done, because when most of the goals that you were scoring in the early parts of the season was from corner kicks, it means that the opponent's manager can just simply get some clips or get access to the matches and just watch what they do. And then when you see that the patterns are so similar in so many games, it's easy for you to say, okay, we know that, all right, this is what they're going to do. They're gonna have Gabriel here, or they're gonna allow you to think that they're going to try to get it onto the head of what do I name again?
Saliba.
Saliba. But the plan is to get Gabriel, or if it's not Gabriel, get Odegaard right there. So it becomes predictable. So as much as they thought perhaps would have been an advantage to them, you need to have a different philosophy. Even if it's going to be a case where you're good early, let it be a case where it's not always Gabriel most of the time doing it. So I think that's what has made them be found out, because it's a case where you realize that this is a pattern and it's always that same thing. So it becomes predictable. So yeah, all those teams took a couple months. Eventually they figured it out. So I mean, they even dropped points. And they could have probably lost the match later on. So that's the next thing. So their strength is not really a strength anymore. And the only team that I really saw was the film um prey to that was PSV, because they ended up losing 7-0 to them. And a huge part of that came from their aerial ability. Arsenal's aerial ability played a huge role in them winning that match and getting as much goals as they did. So it's a case where, with Arsenal, for example, I know we had this conversation privately as well. As Chelsea fans, seeing Arsenal win the league would feel disgusting. Um, but that case looks like it's less likely to be the case, because looking at the point gap, realistically, Liverpool are not going to drop 15 points. At least it'll be a shocker if they do, and that's not going to happen. They proved it yesterday with their win over Southampton. They were behind and they found a way to still come out 3-1 victor. So that's the signs of a champion. And when they were singing, when was it? When they played City. When they played City and the fans were singing, "We're going to win the league. We're going to win the league." It reminded me of when Chelsea were celebrating around this period where they have about 10-9 matches left. You know that when it gets to that point, you know you're going to win the league. So basically, they have the potential of getting 27 more points. So finishing on 97 points, the most. If they win the next matches, they could probably drop points because they have to face Chelsea again and other teams. But realistically, you can say that the title has been won for Liverpool. But with Arsenal, their season imploded very, very quickly. And as I would have done on behalf of you, I would have talked about, for example, United and Arsenal, and they slip up. How one has slipped into the bottom half, and how one team who started off so well and believed that third time the charm would be it for them in Arsenal, they have bottled it even sooner than they did last season. So it's concerning for them for sure. But at the end of the day, it happens. When you use a certain philosophy for so long, it becomes obvious to your opponents, and it's easy for them to scout where your strengths or weaknesses are.
Yeah, even if if you remember, at the beginning of the season, I choose Arsenal when we do that prediction show. I choose Arsenal to finish first. I choose I think Man City finished second, and I think Chelsea third. And I have Liverpool. I don't even think I got Liverpool in the top four, to be quite honest, or Liverpool fourth, or somewhere down the line. But that you can predict all you want. That's why I can't understand when fans or supporters really get angry, when someone make, a bold statement or a bold prediction. Football is unpredictable. Much as we wanna get our prediction right, we all gonna get it wrong one way or another sometimes. Sometimes you predict it and it goes the way how you predict it, sometimes it don't. You know, I think Arsenal will be the favorite to win the league this year because I can see that City was falling for the last three runs. You can see that it was too close to call. So you can see that City was burned out. You can see that City need a rebuild. You can see that City was regressing. The progression was finished. They reached a level where they can't go no more. Their ceiling was there and was just there. You just need someone to have a wonderful season to take City down. And Ty, that I was talking about this from last season. I was consistent saying this. City was already there. Like they can't go no further. But Arsenal seems like they're the team, to go there with them. Then if you notice, Arsenal seems like they are at the same peak right now as Man City. Like they already reached their point where they can't go no more. It's not like I really want to say it, but that's just what it is. Seems like that's where they are right now. That's why I'm so disappointed in even Chelsea, to even not, get a striker or get all the missing pieces that we want in the summer, because there were opportunity there to go ahead and take over from City this season. This would be like the Leicester, the Leicester run that Leicester went on to win the league. So for me, this was the season for Arsenal to break that spell. And they didn't do it. Chelsea the same way. Liverpool take advantage of it, which Liverpool have the more experienced team, because Liverpool team have the world-class players that we all know they are. Mo Salah, Chen Alexander, Allison, and name it. They still got that core. They still got that core that's still there. That core that pushed City for so many years. But it take a new manager just to change a few things to bring them back to the top.
Yeah, and that's the thing. As you said, yeah, it was obvious, and it's like I've always said. When before things go bad, there's signs that it's going to go bad, and I think the when Liverpool ended up winning the league in 2020, it showed that if there's a team that can pounce on when City have their off period, then obviously they can be dethroned. Unfortunately, and you said 3 years ago, I would stretch it to 4 years, so add another year to it. Um, or would it, or is it still 3 years? Well, yeah, it would still be 3 years. Yeah. Because you said it's close. I remember when Liverpool just, I think that they lost by 2 points. I don't know which season it was. I think it was when was it? 2022 or
Yeah, somewhere that
so? I think it's yeah,
somewhere right there.
2022. Yeah, right. I think it was what 97 or something like that. Some 90 mark, and Liverpool lost by two. They and I think they dropped points in a certain period of the season, and then that kind of made it end for them being Liverpool. But yeah, as you said, the signs are there that if a team can just simply capitalize on when City drop points, they could be dethroned and they could be overtaken. Um, Obviously, nobody would have really predicted. Well, I don't know, or anybody that I know would have predicted that the slump would be so bad, to the point where they would be out of the top four, and all of that. But I guess because of the fact that, and as you said, they've gone the distance and they've gotten to their peak and all of that, it's a case to rebuild, because all of that experience, all of that, um, all of those players that have given them all of the capabilities that they have for so many seasons, they're getting older now. The impact that De Bruyne used to have, he doesn't have it anymore. It's so all of that visibility is there. Uh, and one thing that I have to respect about what Liverpool have done is that they notice, because as you said, their team is probably the most experienced of the top 8 teams. They have Salah, they have Van Dijk. Most of their players are closer to 30 if they're not in their 30s. But they found a way to get younger players. They have McAllister, they have Grafenberg, they have um Gapo, Soboslai. They have players like that. So they've found a way to freshen up the team, but also have enough experience. Those players have experience of winning things, whether it's from the Dutch league, whether it's with country, whether it's in other leagues. They have that capabilities with City, and what City have done, especially in the winter window that has gone. They've gone early. They got some young player. They got the Egyptian player. They got that young, I think he's what, 19 years old or 20, defender or defenders. So you see they realize that they need to rebuild, and they're starting it from in the winter. So that is the case, and you realize that City are gonna need some time. So you never know. City may end up not winning the league next season, or coming back, unless they have some case where they invest in such good players that it brings them up to that level again. But I think it's gonna be a case of, this is the moment where you build, and you can start, letting the season, let the league become a case where it's not just be dominated by City, because that has been the case. We know that City have won what, 5 titles back to back, or is it 4? Is it 4? Hold on.
And
17,
four.
18,
This
18,
season would be the
19.
fifth.
Yeah,
If
4.
they win, they would be
Yeah, this
fifth.
will be the 5th.
Yeah.
Right. So exactly. So that is the case. So this is the moment, and that's why I share your frustration, because as a Chelsea fan, it would have been the perfect time. And this is the thing, and I'm not taking a dig at Liverpool, but the thing is, Liverpool won the league in 2020, but when they won it, they didn't have any competition, and that's the case now. So it's not like they've had to actually win a title race, because when they had a title race, they weren't able to go the full length. So they dropped points recently, but because of the fact that Arsenal are so far behind them in terms of points, they're not going to suffer. They dropped points to Nottingham Forest, um, and under better circumstances for other teams, that could have been costly, but it's not. It means that the gap obviously isn't 17 or 20, no, but at the end of the day, it's still a case where they've not really had to be in a title race, because it's not a title race, it's a one-man race, it's a one-horse race basically. So yeah, I mean, as you said, the signs were there, and as you said with Arsenal, it makes me wonder if they be able to get over the line, because all they needed to do was to just add a striker, because they went the full length. The title was decided on the last day, based on the facts is that City won and they lost by what 1.2 points. So basically that's the case. If they had added a striker and fine, you said first, I said first as well, because realistically you'd say that okay, they've gone experience, they've had a heartbreak of just coming so close and not doing it. So the third season must be the season where they can probably get it over the line. But we didn't foresee the fact that they would drop points to certain teams, or they would have the injuries that they have now. So well, the injuries are not as massive as other teams, but they have certain injuries to certain key players, like Saka, for example, who, despite not scoring a lot of goals, when he did score goals for them this season, it proved that they would win matches.
Yes, sorry, that was my son was calling me. Yeah, as we talking about the experience and the run to the to the Premier League, the clear run that Liverpool have, you know, if we take a look even at Nottingham Forest, so this if you look, it's similar. Nottingham Forest is not running to win the Premier League, but they have having a fantastic season because of two things: a manager that's already new to the Premier League, and they pick up a whole bunch of experienced players from a lot of these teams. These top 4 or top 6 teams are scoring in the Premier League, for many years. They go and they pick all these players from some of those teams that was a French player one way or another. And if you notice the fantastic run they got, I know a lot of people are gonna say it's just a one show off, but I don't think this Nottingham Forest team gonna drop so many points this for the remainder of the season for them not to make top 4. So for me right now, it's gonna be the top 3 spot. You can say this already sealed, right? Nottingham Forest have to have a major crisis for them to really fall off. But if you go by experience that they got, their striker Chris Wood, very very experienced Premier League striker. Newcastle, name just a few. You can look. He go all around the Premier League as a striker. He scored goals in the Premier League. They're not just for Nottingham Forest, but he been scoring goals wherever he go. But it wasn't just a name, a massive name, but it's someone that very well know the Premier League. Called Hudson-Odoi, a former young superstar. Ole Aina, very very good, very good experienced players. Former Chelsea youth player also. Went back to the Italian Serie A, come back to England, bounce, move around a little bit, but very, very, very well experienced. Just to name it, they go get a goalkeeper that's very experienced. Midfield, they have some very good experienced player also in the midfield. So then they signed that defender, well experienced central defenders. So you can see that this season was a season for just a team to get a solid run where they can go on to win this league. Because next season, none of us know what's gonna happen, because Manchester United gonna spend in the summer. Newcastle, if they get their way, they're gonna spend. Aston Villa, you see they're building something solid over there. They got some good, fantastic player, very well experienced player. Players that win multiple Champions League. Rashford. That player. Once he get on a run, he can go on a run. Probably the new environment will probably give him a wake. But notice that next season it's Wolvesmount. None of us know what's gonna happen next season. Man City already signed all their players that they needed for the summer. So all these players gonna bed into this team right now because they already there training. So they got few months to stick together, to train together, to understand each other. So none of us know if Man City is going to bounce back. You know, Rodri going to be back. You know, they find a Rodri replacement, someone that they were dying for many seasons, which we all can see. So Man City right now is going through this crisis, but they get all their players that they need in the January window. So in the summer, they don't even have to think about much signing because they got some major piece of their puzzle. So this season was the season for a team to take it and run with it. And congratulations to Liverpool because they're the one that really stepped up and do it. You know, I can't have nothing bad to say about Slot because everyone's gonna say that he's new to the league, but he's a very smart man because he didn't come in and change everything. He come in and he changed slightly. You know, and I think that's what major that kill our team Chelsea is too much change at the same time because this was a period of time that we could have taken and run with it. But like how we on Chelsea before we even give the result, you know, I've been saying this for a long time. That I don't know if you can back me up on this, but with Cole Palmer, I've been saying for this longest time that Cole Palmer need to come out of games earlier. He need the break. He need the rest. They're overworking him. I said this on multiple times, multiple different occasions. Like you can see all of what's happening right now with Cole Palmer. Not bashing Cole Palmer. So no one get it wrong or twisted. But I'm just saying that this player need protection for the longest time now. You can see that he needed. He needed. Like we sacrificed the rest, all the entire team to suit Cole Palmer when Cole Palmer is there calling out for help. But what we did, Christopher Nkunku can play the number 10. We didn't give him any opportunity because Cole Palmer is a golden boy. But he's a golden boy, but he's very young and he's been carrying this team for 2 seasons. One last season was the entire season. It was Cole Palmer only. So this season was the season for them to give him help, to give him someone, our players who can help him. But we never take the opportunity. Now he's going on a goal scoring drought. I'm not gonna sit here and blame Cole Palmer for the joke that he's on right now. I'm more likely gonna say it's the club. I understand that when you got a young player and he's so fantastic that you always want to put them out there on the pitch, but you're gonna have times when you have to take them off the bench. You know, they were given too much responsibility to this young player. They overwork him. So now you can see it in his game. I don't know if you have nothing to say on that. I just want to get that out of the way before I forget everything I would want to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a solid point. Because I don't know if you've noticed this, because we haven't gotten the chance to discuss, like Cole Palmer and what's going on, but you can see that his confidence has dropped massively. Maresca ended up saying that he played through illness, so he didn't train for 48 hours, and he said he wanted to play to help the team. But the way that I interpreted that is that he sees himself as that important, that he's saying because of what he did last season, he must be a part of the team because he's an impact, and that's the thing. You realize that Cole Palmer was the one that was the star of Chelsea. It was Cole Palmer FC last season. That was the moment where you know that you need to prepare yourself that teams are going to try to mark him out. And he's been marked out now and he's struggling now because his confidence has dropped. Cole Palmer is no longer doing the tricks and doing everything that he used to do. Now he's playing it safe. He's passing the ball sideways, backwards. He's not taking on players. That is the first sign that he's not confident anymore. The fact is, under Pochettino last season, he was one of the vital reasons why Chelsea didn't finish lesser than they did, because scoring last-minute goals against United, all those stuff, because of Cole Palmer's impact, his performances. So now he's not doing well. He's disappointed because he thinks that he must deliver on all cylinders, and he should be the only one that does. So it is concerning to me about that as well, because I don't want it to be a case where players believe that they're that important. And I'm not saying that he's arrogant and all that. It's just a case where when that is the case, it is difficult for you not to see yourself as being that important, because you know full and well, and nobody can take that away from him. He was challenging Erling Haaland last season for the Golden Boot, 20 plus goals, all those things. So it is impossible for you not to believe in yourself that I should be doing this for the team because I did it last season, so I should be doing this again this season. Salah, same example. Erling Haaland, same example. So yes, for sure, Cole Palmer has confidence issues. I would say that he needs a break. We don't have anybody. Joe Felix is gone. He's most likely gonna get sold in the summer, and Kuku can't play that role because he's not a creative player. But he can play there, but in a different route. So I don't know.
Yeah, Cole. As you touch on Christopher Nkunku there, what you said, 100% correct, because Christopher Nkunku is a different type of number 10, than Cole Palmer. He most likely, is a link up play and try to go on the end to finish. Because if you watch all of Christopher Nkunku goals that he scored in the Bundesliga, it's similar. But back to Cole Palmer, we all can see this was coming, because much as we saw they're getting a lot of players, they're humans, and humans tend to break at some point. The pressure, as they said in Jamaica, pressure bursts pipe. You can see that the pressure on Cole Palmer, you can see the fatigue, since he got those two tackles, one from the Manchester United player and one from the Leicester player, which we play against Leicester. That was Ndidi. You can see from then, you can see that Cole Palmer, the performance, started drop, because he got that injury, and he was playing through those injury. When that was the time to take Cole Palmer out, let him rest, let him recruit, put him back, and then put Christopher Nkunku in there. Give him Christopher Nkunku the chance, or even Joe Felix the chance. Build their confidence, because Cole Palmer already have that confidence. But no, you're injured. Get your rest, then come back. And I think if Cole Palmer did get that rest earlier in the season, when he got those two knocks, I think right now we would have a Cole Palmer firing, and I think that the spotlight wouldn't be on Cole Palmer so much. But forcing Cole Palmer to play through his illness and injury only prove like this is a Cole Palmer FC. Like Chelsea cannot operate without Cole Palmer. Without Cole Palmer, there's no game. And go back, you probably were too young to know this. 1998 FIFA World Cup, Brazil versus France. 1998 FIFA World Cup in France. Brazil was the most dominated team. Ronaldo, from the real Ronaldo, I'm talking about Big Nal, that's what I call him. Ronaldo got an illness, and all the Brazilian players they're not gonna play if Ronaldo cannot play. And what they did, Ronaldo comes straight from the hospital after he collapsed in his room. Everyone said they thought he was gonna die. He collapsed. But what they did, they still forced to play him in the game against France. Brazil end up lose to France 3-0. Zinedine Zidane scored 2 headers. I remember Emmanuel Petit, a former Chelsea player, the Blues player. He used to play for Arsenal too. Scored the 3rd goal. And that to show you that when a team think they're relying on a player too much, or one individual player, that can be a big, big, big problem for that team, both in the present and in the future. 2010 FIFA World Cup, Brazil again versus Germany. When Brazil end up go out to Germany and Germany end up winning. But the game against Colombia, before the Germany game, Neymar got that knee in his back, almost cripple him, take him completely out of the tournament. And all these the Brazilian fans and players go in a panic mood, and seems like they couldn't play without Neymar. Brazil end up gets 7-1. The one goal scored by former Blues player Oscar. 7-1. Germany walk out in Brazil. The tournament was in Brazil. So what I'm trying to say is, I don't think a team should build. You should have a spine, not a single individual player. So if one piece of the spine come out, the spine's still a little bit active. And that's where I think Chelsea is failing, because Chelsea doesn't have a spine. You know, they're most likely looking on an individual, just one individual player. When Eden Hazard was at Chelsea, everyone said Eden Hazard is one of Chelsea's greatest players of all time. You know, it's a debate that people will be having from this generation and probably the next. But he got a spine with him. He got Frank Lampard there. He got Didier Drogba there. He got Michael Essien was there one at a time. He got who else was there? John Terry was there. You know, Peter Cech was there. So he definitely have a spine there, even though he's the talisman. But he still got a spine that he can work from or work with. You know, Diego Costa was there. Cesc Fabregas was there. Matic was there. Kante was there. But he is the talisman. But look at the superstar names around him. You know, look at the help that he got. A lot of times, as one time, even when Kante was there, a lot of time he's coming off the bench. You know, so those are some of the things that I'm really looking at, and I'm saying that, you know, there's a lot of ways that Chelsea could have done better, you know, to help Cole Palmer, especially this season.
Yeah. And you know, when I saw that quotation on X, that's what Maresca said it, and people were cheering on and saying, "Yes, I love that from Cole Palmer, commitment." I was saying to myself, "Are you crazy? How can you be entertaining such a decision? You set the precedence that Cole Palmer is, and the fact that if that is true, and that's what Maresca ended up doing, then I have no respect for that, because you know the player hasn't trained in 48 hours. You know that he hasn't been with team training. That messes up any sort of chemistry, any sort of patterns of play that those who did train did. And by not playing and by playing him when he did not train with them, that messes up the whole ideology of it. And you could see he was playing it safe. So I don't like that. And that's one of the reasons why Joao Felix even wanted to leave, because Maresca did not just not play him. He also said that I cannot play two attacking midfielders. So one has to play and one will not play. And he proved that the only player that he's willing to play is Cole Palmer. So this is the case now. It's poor man management. I've always complained that Maresca has poor man management, because you must be able to spread out the game time to every player that you have. So that way you can keep players, because at the end of the day, if Joao Felix doesn't like that, he's not playing, fine. Fair enough. He has all right to. But at the end of the day, he's contracted to you. So if he plays and wants to win, that's his problem. It's a team sport. You cannot play without a team. So if he doesn't like it, that is his problem. But let him know that you will get game time when it is best for you to get game. Not when there's no other choice, but I have to play you. No. I know that Cole Palmer is in a very horrible place in form. He couldn't even score from the spot, and he was the ideal man. He had not missed a penalty before in his career, albeit his career is very short. His first miss in 30, so out of 12 penalties he's taken, he has scored 13. He has from 13 he has scored 12, I should say. Wrong order. But he even can't score from the spot, so that shows how bad it is. It reminds me of Timo Werner. When Timo Werner started off so well when he first came on, and he started missing, then he missed a penalty, and they took it away from him and gave it back to Jorginho. Those things, those things are bad. But I don't know. That's why I always say Maresca, as much as Maresca's tactics, it's easy for you to understand what he wants to do and it can work with proper players. His man management needs a lot of work because what he did, he could have treated Felix better. And by playing Palmer just like that, it shows that you're telling Palmer, and the message you're sending to Palmer is that you are that important. That even if you didn't even train with the team in preparation for the match, you're gonna just walk straight in despite the efforts of everybody else who's trying to get a starting place over Palmer or a starting place in the team overall. It is a bad message to send, and I don't understand it, but that was the decision, and it's not like it worked out because Cole Palmer really struggled.
And not only that too, if you notice the way as you said about the man management, even Christopher Nkuku, you can see that he's just really getting back, into his groove because you can see that even Christopher Nkuku most of the time seems like he don't want to be there. So that to show you, even with the same injury that I was saying earlier, that he picked up the knocks that he picked up against Leicester and Manchester United earlier in the season, where he could have get the break. Even today, if he's not well, put Christopher Nkuku in that number 10. So that to show you that Maresca, he probably taken a lot from upstairs. At the beginning of the season, the way how he was talking, I think that he probably was the man for the job, where he's saying what he wants to say. But now it seems like they write a script and give it to him, in his press conference. When he's come out and he's gonna say that Cole Palmer is coming from a hill, that is proven to me that he just backing up the player, for missing that penalty, so it can close the media down a little bit off him, But Cole Palmer shouldn't be in that situation if he was ill, because Tyreek George start midweek. We got a big game coming up midweek and a big game coming up on the weekend, because the midweek game, is not over yet because we concede a goal late, so it's not over yet. So if you can rest the captain because of a illness, why don't you rest Cole Palmer and just believe in the squad? Let the rest of your squad know that, listen, I believe in you guys. So you guys gonna have to go out there and do it today in a Premier League game, not some conference league where you expect to win 8-0 when you call upon Christopher Nkuku. Tyreek George, come on, and he's been playing fantastic. Every time that he get a chance, either start or off the bench, he's showing that this kid is proving that he can put in a shift. Why don't leave Cole Palmer on the bench? Give this young player the chance, then start the game. If it's not going in your way, believe in Cole Palmer so much, then take him off the bench. Give Leicester something different to think about, because everyone is building up and preparing to mark Cole Palmer out of the game. No one is looking to mark Tyreek George or Christopher Nkuku out of the game, because no one expects Christopher Nkuku to start in the 10. This is some of the things that I see with Maresca, where it's kind of concerning, because it's shown me already proven that you don't know how to use your squad. So even if you do got a big squad with 25 good players, you're never gonna know how to rotate your players so everyone can be happy. And this is one of the biggest concern I got. And a lot of the Chelsea fan was on Frank Lampard, and said, oh, Frank Lampard is one of the worst manager ever. And I always said, there's nothing wrong with Frank Lampard. Everything have to do with the Chelsea owners and the Chelsea players at that time. Because Rudiger was one of the one that fall out with Frank Lampard, and then because of the young players that Frank Lampard was trying to bring into the squad. But this Chelsea squad is different. It's all made up of young players. So giving Frank Lampard a Chelsea team like this, I think he will do similar what Maresca are doing, or probably even better, because Frank Lampard is good with young players. Not saying we should go back for Frank Lampard, don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying that Maresca right now, he is questionable. At beginning, we all can sit here and say we love what he's doing, but he's questionable now. Because now he's showing that either you don't trust in these players, or you just believe in one set of players, or you just going by what the board tell him to do.
That is a reality, indeed. Um, and it reminds me of what you said a couple months back as well. He said there's no A team, B team. There's just a team that he wants to play because the fact is the fact that um the willingness and how willing he was to just lose Felix, which would have been the better option. And this is what I have always said, and you and I have always had discussions about the fact that yes, everybody says that Felix doesn't score goals, but you need a player that will open up other chances for other people as well. You don't and I've always used the example of Firmino. Firmino wasn't the top goal scorer for Liverpool constantly, and he would score goals here and there. But what by having him on the pitch, it allows for other players to have that freedom. Sadio Mane had that chance to score goals. Salah had those chances to score goals. Even the midfielders, Wijnaldum, when they had those players, they they were able to have that chance because of what Firmino offered. So yes, Joao Felix doesn't score goals, and sometimes he makes some poor decisions, but the opportunity that having Joao Felix would have done is that in a case like this where Palmer is struggling, you'd have a player that can play in that role, offer something different, and also add creativity to the team, and something different that your opponents won't know what to expect because Joao Felix is not a player that you can just simply say, okay, he's gonna do this because depending on the Felix that you get a different type each time. So that is something that to me, as you said, is questionable about Maresca because at the end of the day, you can't set the precedent to say that I only trust these players because when or if those players get injured, you're gonna have a problem where when you have to play the other players, they're not gonna want to play for you, or you're gonna have some sort of attitude problem because you didn't value them when you had the chance to pick between them or other players when both sets of players are fit. So that is concerning, and as much as Maresca has done good in terms of everything that he's wanted to do, it's not a good look. It really is a bad thing what he's done. And at the end of the day, he can only blame himself for what has happened now. And let's not forget, Nkunku is at the club now, but Nkunku also wanted to leave. So you have a player that is unhappy, who wants to leave and may end up leaving in the summer. You have Joao Felix, who has perhaps ruined his career now because going to Milan this part of the season has probably ruined any sort of momentum that he could have had. He started off well, and now things have imploded for him. So I don't know. It's a concerning thing what has happened with Maresca and these players. And as I said before, man management is very key, and his man management has been very poor. I'm just happy that we see players like Tariq George and all those players getting the chance now. Albeit, I don't want to say I'm happy that Madueke got injured, but at the expense of having something different. Madueke is injured. Tariq George is getting that chance, and Tariq George offers something completely different. We saw when Tariq George came on, he defended well. He dropped deep. Those are things that if Madueke was playing, you don't get. Neto, for example, Neto is a hard-working player. All those things, if it wasn't for the injuries or the fact that Madueke wasn't scoring some goals, we would not have seen Neto coming to the team. That's just the harsh reality. Man management has been very bad from Maresca. So I'm concerned about when these players come back, what's going to happen because he has proven that he doesn't value some of these players. And as you said, I don't know if it is the persons above him in terms of the ownership or sporting directors that are telling him that this is what needs to be done, because at this point it's hard for me to argue against saying that he is a yes man. He's not a yes man completely, but he is a yes man because he's just feeding the media and everybody.
a whole bunch of things that sound like it's coming from above his head.
And the last thing we want to talk about Chelsea before we move on to Manchester United. Earlier in the season when we were there, and he keep on saying we're not in the top four, we're not in the title race, we're not in the title race, we're not in the title race. When players sit there in the dressing room and hear their manager coming out in the media and say stuff like that, that can dent a lot of confidence in players. I didn't want you to come out and say, yes, we're in the title race. Skip past it then. There's many ways he could have dealt with that situation a little bit better. So those are some of the moments that I really sit back and go over a lot of these press conference to really see and think about. I know that the team is young and you don't want to put pressure on them, but there were many ways you could have dealt with the situation, then keep on knock down the players, and then it reaches a stage where the players are knocked to the floor and you now have to turn around, pick them up and say, our aim is top four. Our aim is top four. Our aim is top four. When you already were saying that top four wasn't the main focus. So you're misleading the fans, and then when you see it's not going your way, you're trying to twist it. So those are some little things that I'm seeing is lack of experience from the manager, which exactly what I said earlier about using the squad. He should have used the squad a little bit better, way more better, and you can see that the main players that he was using, you can see the effect. When those players are out injured now, you don't have no one to really turn to. So it's unfortunate, that Chelsea couldn't go on, to challenge at least Liverpool for the title a little bit better. Wish we already know we were going to fall off somewhere down the line. But with the teams that will fall off by playing, I don't think that Chelsea should have fall off in December the way we fall off against the teams that we fall off to. I don't know if you want to add something else to that, Ty, before we move on to Manchester United.
Well, yeah, I'll just simply say this. Yeah, he needs to use his squad better, and when these players return, Mark Gue and all those people, he needs to ensure that he uses the squad properly. But yeah, we can move on to Man United.
So Manchester United, we're going to close this off in the next 15 minutes. So Manchester United, their fan was protesting. They said they almost were black to say that to show, that their club have died. That's Manchester United have turned into a funeral home, for the last couple of years. This season, make it even worse. So this season, Manchester United have been turned into a graveyard, a cemetery, somewhere where you go look for the dead. And the big or the richest club, that was there in the world. You have to say Manchester United was one of the richest club in the world at this time right now. They're in so deep with debt. We don't know how they're gonna come out of it, but they're so deep that Gary Neville was even saying that the jersey that the player was wearing today seems like was the same one that they were a couple weeks ago. Like they just wash it and put it back together. The way Gary Neville said it live on TV, like that was surprising to me. That was shocking. Because we all know that seems like back in Jamaica when we're playing in the second division, where the team can afford to change jersey as frequent as the big club like Manchester United. It's sad, but the end of the day is because I'm a Chelsea fan, I don't really care much because we want to see some of these teams fail so we can go above. But when you check it out though, we have to think about the fans, the supporters, the die-hearted people that work to build a club like Manchester United to where it was, to see the level that Manchester United was to see where it's going or the way it's going down. Because to be quite honest, without a likes of a Manchester United and an Arsenal or Liverpool, I'm not even gonna say Man City because we all know Man City. I didn't grow up and see Man City was in the Premier League, to be quite honest. I grew up to see that like the likes of a Derby County, Bolton Wanderers, Wigan Athletic. Manchester City was a roller coaster club, up, down there and here and around about. The Stoke City, no one want to go to Stoke City, especially in the winter. Little teams like those, to see the way how they built and the way how they were a part, one of the main part of the beginning of the Premier League. Your Blackburn Rovers, the first Premier League, the first team to win the Premier League when the name changed to Premier League. Blackburn Rovers. A lot of people don't know this history. Was one of the team. When Newcastle was challenging for the Premier League title and lose it, by a small margin. So stuff like these are teams that these will build this Premier League to where it was today. You don't want to see, they've been going through turmoil like what been going on. They've been cutting budget here and there. Viville, after taking a massive pay cut to stay at Manchester United to try to help to rebuild it. What's your take on Manchester United?
Yeah, as you mentioned, obviously we know that historically Man United have been very successful. They've been a team that has found a lot of success. Um, I've always said that there's a lot of things going on at Manchester United that exceeds just the pitch, and I have a lot of Man United friends. I know a lot of Man United fans as well, especially in Jamaica, for instance. And they were very happy when Eric Ten Hag was sacked. And I was saying to them that no matter who they bring in, they're gonna still struggle because there's some fundamentally incorrect things going on at that club. I can't explain it. I don't know what it is, but there's something that exceeds just the pitch that is causing a lot of problems. I don't know. I'm not on the inside, so I generally don't know what's going on. But there's something wrong. It's not just about not having good players or not having good enough players, because they've had so many good players and they've still struggled. I don't know. I just don't know what it is. I don't know if it's mentality. I don't know what it is, but it's just something off with them. As much as a lot of people have expected them not to get top four or not to really have been one of the challenges for top four, I'm sure nobody would have expected them to have been in this horrible situation where they're in the bottom half, where for so long they were close to relegation zone, where they're like what 5 points sometimes ahead of 17, 18, 19. That is concerning. The drop off is very bad, and some of it has to do with the players that they have. But there's other instances where I just think it is more than that. And look, they replace Eric Ten Hag, and Ruben Amorim is deemed as a good coach. Chelsea wanted him as well, for instance. Then they get him. Ruben Amorim has done a lot in the Portuguese league as well. So it shows that it cannot just be that what Amorim is trying to do is not working, because we've seen games where what he's trying to make them apply on the pitch, it works to a T until they can't score goals. So I don't know. It's strange what has happened to United, a historically successful team that is constantly struggling. Um, on the plus side, they've been able to win trophies still, especially under Ten Hag before he ended up leaving. So in terms of success, they've had it domestically recently, but I don't know. There's just something severely wrong that I'm struggling to understand.
Yeah, it's it's saddened for the Manchester United fans. People who grew up to see they dominated under Sir Alex Ferguson. But to see that the fans are saying they're gonna wear black, it was almost 6,000 people was there demonstrating before the game, and they all say that they always put it out, so they must wear black to show that the die of that giant of a club. I remember when I want Chelsea to be just like Manchester United, but it's just unfortunate, but guess what? If they stay down for a couple more years, man, let it rain. Long as this giant club doesn't get, relegated, but if they struggle to reach up there and Chelsea can advance, then let it be. But I just feel it for the dieted people. But Garrett never make a bold statement, which is the right statement and one of the main statement that these owners are not the real owners of a football club. The owners of every football club is the fans. They're just a taker. They take care of the clubs, but the fans are the owners, which is true, because we are the one that sacrifice, to pay for these subscription or to buy the merch, for these clubs to continue to run, and so they can get money in their pocket. So without the fans, there wouldn't be any club. So if all the fans take away their money, there's nothing they can do, so that they need the fans just as the fans need them to do a good job, to build a good team, to compete. So all these owners that own these Premier League team, like when they come in and think they're a self-made machine, and without the fans, none of them are nothing, because without the fans, they will never make back the money that they put in. So the fans have to play a big part. So the fans are majority owners of every football club in the world.
That's the truth. That is the truth. Um, and that's something that a lot of people tend to forget, because without the fans, the club cannot be successful. Yeah, they have some sponsors, they have people that invest in the club, but all and in the bracket of people that invest in the club are the fans, because if the fans don't buy the merchandise, they'll just be making a whole bunch of jerseys and kits and all of that, and they just have them in the stores or and all that, and that's about it. So a lot of people don't understand that they are stakeholders, shareholders in the club, because at the end of the day, whatever happens with the club in terms of finance and all that, profits and all that, and gains, stems from what the fans also do as well. So it's unfortunate that a lot of people don't see it that way. But yeah, and the whole thing with Manchester United, for example, we all know about the Glazers and how they're in a massive level of debt, and they have to float the club, putting them on the 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 stock market and all those stuff. Those things, trying to, and the milking the club and all that. We know how the financial issues have gone at that club. So that's why I'm saying that it's not just the pitch. It's also the philosophy, the fundamentals of the club. And there's protest, there's raging, there's all of that. And it is concerning, because it is always something that makes you scratch your head when you realize that the teams that were glorious in the earlier parts of the Premier League era, or when the Premier League became known as the Premier League, came about. So it is a very strange thing to see. But at the end of the day, we all know that teams obviously will have their slip eventually, and they'll have their off seasons and all that. But at the end of the day, we have to just see what happens going forward with United. Um, they still have a high level of stakes in the club. They're still full high percentage owners, with the more so, what's his name? the guy that has bought some shares. I always forget his name. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, they've had some more investors basically come in and all that. So hopefully it gets better for them. But it's a case where it's not looking positively for them, and it's a case where you just don't know when that will be.
Yeah, and it's just unfortunate. But we're gonna move on to Arsenal because Arsenal I've found a new sporting directors, the former Atletico Madrid sporting directors. But even though they find a new sporting directors, my take on it, and I think Mikel Arteta, should be on the review at the end of the season. What you take on it?
Yep. That's the thing. We know what's his name. Edu. I think Edu. I think Edu was the sporting director before. I think a former player of theirs. He ended up leaving. So they've had to replace him and he get somebody else in. It's just a case of will he do better than what Edu did, because he because even Edu had his off periods where they would have ended up signing players that have added nothing, adding any value to the team. So yeah, I mean, if they're going to replace their sporting director, then that's fantastic for them, because at the end of the day, they need somebody that will come in and advise the manager or the head coach, because they will not really be equipped with all of that knowledge unless they started off in a different area, such as
Seems like Ty have frozen. But what he was saying that he think that because the new sporting director that they bring in, if he's gonna do the same thing as Mikel Arteta, if you back Ty, you can continue. All right, Ty is not there. But my take on it though, I think that they definitely need to get rid of Mikel Arteta. If they doesn't win something this season, I think this is the season for them to really go for a different ideas, because this was his time, because Manchester City have fall. So I think that he should have, take over, and I think he should have bring them to victory this season to beat Liverpool to the title. But for me, I'm glad that Liverpool is winning the Premier League this season and not Arsenal because of the rival. But I think that it's a failure of a season if he doesn't win the Champions League. He doesn't win the Champions League. I think that definitely they need a fresh manager, someone with different ideas. I think he already bring these players to where as far as he can take them to. I think they need someone now, just like when Chelsea win the Champions League. Frank Lampard bring us to the peak, and he couldn't go over it, and Tuchel come in and take us over the line. So I think that definitely that if he doesn't win the Champions League this season, I just think that with the squad that he built, they're probably gonna have to get a fresh mind, on board, someone fresh, someone that definitely have a different or can add to what he already built, to take them over the line. I think that's what they needed. Just like the same thing with Klopp. Klopp take Liverpool to here, and no, on a slot come and he take them over the bump. Slot couldn't find he could Klopp couldn't find out how to go over it, but now Klopp was there, and then he was like, okay, I can't go no more. I'm out. And Slot come in and he take them over it. So I think it's time for them to really, move on if they doesn't win the Champions League this season. You want to add anything else, Ty? While I'm waiting for Ty, you know, the Premier League this weekend, Nottingham Forest won, Manchester City nil. So Nottingham Forest have beaten Manchester City. You know, that's the first game of the season, of the day, of the weekend. My bad. I was saying the season. The season almost finished. We only got 10 games left in the Premier League, guys. 10 games left. You can imagine that. You know, Brighton have beat Fulham 2-1. A late penalty to seal the deal for Brighton. Crystal Palace have beaten Ipswich Town 1-0. And the mighty Liverpool, the champion of the Premier League so far, you know, it's Liverpool, the league to lose. The mighty Liverpool beat Southampton 3-1. Mo Salah with 2 strikes, I think. You know, coming from a goal behind to win 3-1. Aston Villa have beaten Bradford 1-0. Wolverhampton, Everton drew 1-1. Tottenham Hotspur drew 2-2 today, and Tottenham is another team that fall off. You know, if you're there, Ty, you want to talk about Tottenham, you know, you can go ahead, bro. All right, seems like Ty still haven't back yet, but Tottenham Hotspur 2, Bournemouth 2. You know, Tottenham come from 2 goals down to drew the game 2-2. The big game of the day, it was Manchester United versus Arsenal. A well taken free kick, you know, from the captain, you know, Bruno Fernandes, to give Manchester United the lead, you know, with an equalizer from Declan Rice to bring it back to 1-1. And that's where the game finished. So 1-1, that's the final of the day from Manchester United, and the final game of the day. But on Monday, we got West Ham versus Newcastle. So West Ham will play Newcastle on Monday. And then Chelsea, we all know Chelsea win 1-0 over Leicester City. Cole Palmer have missed his first penalty in the Premier League. So Cole Palmer is on a drought. You know, Mo Salah is on fire for Liverpool, and the list goes on. You know, Nottingham Forest is on form all season long. You know, they're right up there with the big boys. So this is how the table shape out right now. You know, I'm not going to pull it up on the stream. I'm just going to tell you guys. So Liverpool is on 70 points. You know, 70 points. Liverpool is on 70 points. And right now, if you notice, they're leading Arsenal by 15 points, a 15-point gap difference. So Arsenal is on 55 points. Nottingham Forest is on 51 points. Chelsea is on 49 points. With the defending champion, Manchester City, on 47 points. And then you know, that's the top 5. And then Brighton is on 46 points. And then you got Aston Villa. Then you got Newcastle can end up go back to 6th place, or, you know, yeah, they can end up go back to 6th place if they win tomorrow. But the big one of the day, Manchester United is in 14th place, with Tottenham is sitting in 13th place. And we all know those are 2 of the big teams, But if West Ham United can win tomorrow, that will push Manchester United down to 15th. So the weekend can see Manchester United finishing 15th. You know, with Tottenham would be right there in 14th. So they still got one game to go. The table still can be twist and turn in different ways. But I want to say thank you to each and every one that, you know, support this channel. And as I said, guys, there's a lot of new content is coming on the channel, not only about football, so about life in general. So we're gonna have different topic, you know, on this channel. Try to do something every day if we can do it every day. But that will be more likely in the evening, some evening shows. So I want to say thank you to each and every one that support your boy JC Garvin. And I really thank you, you know, for being here with me. And it's been a while. So I thank you guys for your patience. I thank you guys for your continually, you know, subscribe, even though I was out for a while. But I want to say thank you to each and every one. Ty, you still there? All right, no Ty, guys. So I want to say thank you and have a blessed day.
From my bad place, oh yeah. Tryna be a better me just for you. But it ain't easy, it's hard to get used to. Minding my own business, I'm not worried about what he do. Cause nowadays, all it is let me see through. I always said this is that I'm staying around people. Finding my own path like I'm writing my own sequel. Two-faced people all around, they be evil. 2021, you can never trust nobody. Good and bad thoughts on my mind, they be crowded. Pushing to get past his limits, then he see he bought it. Family work hard, but I never catch them found it. Came a long way in my dream, now I be drowning. They dying, I hear got some hearts pounded. Multi-talented, my passion, I haven't found it. Yeah, in my home, I was never ever doubted. I'm here from my bad place, oh yeah. Tryna be a better me just for you. But it ain't easy, it's hard to get used to. Minding my own business, I'm not worried about what he do. Cause nowadays, all it makes let me see through. I always said this is that I'm staying right.